Here's what your doctor is not telling you about the premenstrual and menstrual headaches, the menstrual, premenstrual mood disorder, generally falling into the categories of anxiety, irritable, anger, depressed, emotional, agitated, and the premenstrual bloating. These symptoms are not hormonal, strictly speaking. They correlate with the hormone cycle. Yes, that is true. But what they're caused by is the degrading endometrium. Think of the uterus as the size of a lemon, a large lemon, small orange. It has an internal space, and that space is lined by some hormonally active skin. Think endometrium there. That is the part that thickens and sheds. It thickens and sheds and goes through a cycle. As the lining degrades and gets ready to shed, it releases a neuropeptide toxin into the bloodstream, and that neuropeptide is the trigger for the headaches that occur around the time of the period, leading up to the period, during the first part of the period, as well as the mood issues that occur in that time, as well as the abdominal bloating, the fluid retention. Yes, I've gained 3 or 4 pounds. I don't like it. Now, next week, my clothes will fit better. All of those symptoms, as well as a few other symptoms we could name, are a consequence not of the ovaries malfunction. They're a consequence of the endometrium, the lining of the uterus, degrading and getting ready to shed, and shedding because after the period, it washes out. I feel better. My good week. I don't have these headaches anymore. My mood is a lot better. My frame of mind is better. My clothes are fitting better. So what I'd like to talk about is how to feel like the week after your period, 365 days a year. So again, first you have to understand what the underlying problem is. It is not the ovaries. It is the lining of the uterus. So if you have gone to your doctor and your doctor says, look, what we can do is we can give you the birth control pills. It's not going to help. All it does is artificially put you through the same phases of building up the lining and shedding and building up and shedding. So it generally will not help. It may make the periods a little bit more regular, and in some women, it will make them a little lighter and possibly alleviate some of the symptoms. But in general, as a rule, it will not help. A lot of doctors will say, look, what we can do is we can put an IUD in, a progesterone or a hormone-secreting IUD. I can guarantee you that this will not help most women. What they will say, what the IUD is it is a device, a piece of plastic embedded with some progesterone type of hormone. It sits right in the middle of the uterus and releases progesterone-like molecules which degrade the endometrium. Have you ever had someone say, look, IUD is okay. I mean, it slowed my period down. In fact, it stopped my period. It was good. But then they'll say, but I didn't like the way it made me feel. Frequently, women will not identify exactly what it was they didn't like. They say, well, I didn't like the way it made me feel. Maybe it caused headaches. Maybe I just didn't like how it, bloating, weight gain, different things. What it is doing is degrading the endometrium. It's not really the IUD or the progesterone component in the IUD. It's the fact that the progesterone component is degrading the endometrium, and that's what's causing the woman not to feel right. So a lot of times women will go to their doctors and say, look, we tried our algorithm says if someone has complaints like you're having, we give them the birth control pills. If they don't like that, we can try an IUD. And honestly, if they persist and we just can't put up with it, we can just do a hysterectomy. So all of those solutions are wrong-headed. The first two simply won't work, or in general will not work, and the last one is tremendous overkill. If a woman has completed childbearing, In other words, she's, let's just say, by way of example, in her late 30s or in her 40s, and she says, yeah, I mean, my husband had a vasectomy, or yeah, I mean, I had my third C-section several years ago and had my tubes tied. These people already have made the decision that their childbearing is complete. Why are they fooling with any of it? If the endometrium is removed, they're not going to have any of the problems. And the endometrium can be removed by a simple outpatient procedure called endometrial ablation. Just by way of example, our medical practice has done 6,000 of these procedures. We take a detailed inventory of what symptomatology a woman has around the time of her period, either leading up to the period, first part of her period. We also do, after doing the procedure, we'll do follow-up. And whatever the symptoms are, I mean, you name it, those things I said, as well as some of the others, including fatigue, breast tenderness, acne, as well as several other symptoms, all of these symptoms go away. So there's this thing women say, you hear it all the time, I've got one good week a month. This is, like after the period. I feel better. I don't have certain complaints around here. I have a little bit better frame of mind. So after doing the endometrial ablation, a woman will feel like the week after her period 365 days a year. With endometrial ablation, vaporizing the endometrium, we don't touch the ovaries. We're that far away from the ovaries. So the problem has nothing to do with the ovaries. It has nothing to do with ovarian malfunction. They just don't have all of these other complaints. So if you would like to talk some more about this, please check out some of our other videos, and we would love to talk to you about the endometrial ablation procedure, how it might benefit you. There are also other things that we can talk to you about, which is the other genuine hormonal problems that women have with their ovaries. And that is part of another video, which we'll talk about the declining output from the ovaries and what is the symptomatology from that and how those symptoms can be completely alleviated.